Saturday is a day of rest. A day when you take a break from week-long labor and pause to enjoy the fruits of your toil. Now, the typical Saturday night in an African village will be characterized by lots of singing, dancing, and merrymaking in the village square. Children at home gathered around elders for folk tales, which serves as a dessert after the evening meal. Here, like everywhere else in the world, people live for this day of rest and freedom.
But it was on this day of rests that the greatest of unrests, nay, havoc, was meted out on the village of Nsadop by neighbors they had lived with. I am Michael James from Fountains of Compassion, and I invite you to take a tour of Nsadop with me and see for yourselves the horror that people are compelled to live in. On Saturday, the 23rd of October 2010, people purportedly from the neighboring villages invaded this community, killing people, burning houses, and looting. People had to run for their dear lives because it was an unexpected attack. There was no war, just a dispute over land which the state government was trying to resolve. In fact, on the day this carnage took place, the community elders were actually in a meeting with the state deputy governor in the state capital in a bid to find a resolution to this dispute. Only the youth were left behind to guard the disputed land. And as they told me, they were instructed not to attack anybody. Women and children and old men were left behind in the village. The Nsadop people still wonder to this day why the marauders did not go to fight to claim the disputed land, which is so many kilometers inside the forest, but rather chose to come and burn their village. They also claim not to have provoked the attack in any way because they never invaded nor killed the inhabitants of the neighboring villages. This is what they say.
On that day, which was Saturday, 23rd October, all of us were in the village, following the order by the deputy governor that all of us should be withdrawn. We were in the village.
Withdrawn from where, please?
Withdrawn from where we were trying to safeguard our properties from being destroyed by our opponents. So as we were in the village, at that time, nobody was thinking that anything is going to happen. So abruptly, it came like that. People attired in a mobile uniform, army uniform, etc.
By mobile, you mean security forces, like the police?
No, they may not be. They are not security forces.
But they were attired like the police.
They were attired. They are militant.
Oh, okay.
They are militant.
But they were dressed like the police.
Yes, they were dressed like yes. Okay. In that form.
Yeah.
So when they came, the next day they started attacking. They started burning started burning houses, shooting at random, killing people like that. All of us ran away and left the village. We all ran away and left the village. They continued the burning. They continued doing all harms that you are seeing here today. So that's what happened.
Who actually instigated this violence?
The Uche people instigated the violence.
Did the Nsadop people kill anybody from Buje?
They did not. They did not go to war.
Okay, so what was the reason for the deputy governor asking you to withdraw?
It came this way. Since the Uche people were trooping in, destroying our crops, we formed a vigilante group to protect the destruction of the crops.
Okay. And right now, I can see all these people around here, and I see all these burnt houses. Where do these people live?
Some of them are sleeping in the primary school because the primary school is not condemned, was not burned. Some of them go to the church hut and sleep. Some of them are sleeping on some touched areas which are condemned and left little.
During this carnage, how many people were killed?
Yes, about 30 people were killed, for so far discovered. Because we cannot say exactly, because some people up till now have not seen them.
I'm going to ask you a question I already asked my friend over there.
Yeah.
How many Boja people were killed?
Boja people, nobody was killed because there was no fighting.
Are you saying this because you're from Nsadop?
No, I'm just candid. I'm telling you that nobody was killed because our boys went there only for vigilante. Because when the news came that they had destroyed our farms, so they went there to make sure that nothing, they stopped them from continuing with their destruction. Then after that, the deputy governor invited us for a meeting with the leaders. And so that was on the 22nd. So we went there, the deputy governor now, being aware that both parties were in the bush, he ordered us to go and withdraw our boys. And as soon as we came back to the village, we asked them to withdraw. And immediately they withdrew. Then 2 hours, and we were supposed to have another meeting in the governor's office the following day, being 23rd. So we went for the meeting. On our way, people started calling us and informing us that there is a lot of shooting and that kind of a thing around our backyard. Not long after that, my own wife told me that the people are already inside the village and that the first house was already burned. That is the Honorable Commissioner for Justice house, right from my side axis.
Now these men are members of the Council of Chiefs of Nsadop community. They were part of the delegation to the peace talks when the raid took place. They tell me that so many people were killed in the community and how they have also been rendered destitute as a result of the crisis.
So as we come, we have no food, no farm. Like myself, my farm 6 years ago, this place is still standing in the bud. When the people came and destroyed my farm, last year they did the same thing. If not the community, they are taking me. I should be a homeless person. So the Linus Nane, former chief of Cashier, was killed. His son Edu was killed. Papa Thomas was killed. Papa Matthias was killed. These are aged men who could not run, but they got them inside their houses, twisted their necks, threw them there. And then the young men, some of them who were running, met them because they started from the river there down to this side. The militants and our enemies surrounded us. So when you run this side, you meet them. All these young boys will hear, just jam them in the food and then they shot them there. So now that has happened like this, the government, the world over, they have sympathy on us. Help us where they can help us so we may survive.
They also say they don't want war, they want peace, in spite of what their neighbors have done to them.
Thank these our people who give this to us. Let them bring peace. Without which, maybe they will come again, we don't know. Because they are feeling very proud of what they have done. We don't want such things. Those things will not help us. Why not make peace? So we want peace. We don't want problem. Whatever they have done, we leave it to God to answer, not us.
In Nigeria, roots are very important to the people. And one of the ways people identify with their roots is to build a country home. No matter how widely traveled you are, or how long you have lived abroad, or no matter how many houses you have at large, you are not regarded as a true son of the soil unless you have built a house in your own village. The number of such high-profile structures is an indication of the socio-political clout of the community. That is why you see magnificent houses side by side with thatched mud houses. So burning down these houses was more like a psychological emasculation, a way of deflating the ego of the people. For instance, this house is owned by a former Attorney General of the states, and this one belongs to one Alfonso Soman who works with the federal government in the country's capital, Abuja. I took a trip to the refugee camp where the displaced people were given temporary shelter, and this is what I saw. What you're looking at right here is the village primary school, which has been converted into a refugee camp. Tents have been made available by the government for some families, while others sleep in some of these classrooms. Some also sleep in these structures made of corrugated roofing sheets. It is better imagined than experienced what these people go through day after day, having to live in these structures right under the tropical sun. And talking about the sun, it burns with a fury down here. So imagine what it feels like to live in these houses made of tin.
I'm Mr. Joe. This is supposed to be a refugee camp. Can you take me to one of the tents? Let's see what it looks like. Let's go in and see what it looks like.
Human beings were not supposed to live in these other places, but due to the circumstances we find ourselves, to see people suffering all these things, in the night, they use this mat to spread here on the floor. They lie here with their family.
This tent, this floor is bare. I don't understand. How do these people live? How possible is it for people to sleep under this condition?
That is why I said, in the night, they spread mat. If you look at it here, this is a mat.
And the mat is almost threadbare.
Exactly. That's how we're suffering here.
Wow, that's serious. So where are the families right now?
They have gone to their various places of work because they go out to do some jobs, these odd jobs that help some people who are building. So at the end of the day, they give them a little money so that they can take care of themselves.
I would like to talk with one of those who live in one of these tents. It's really hot, and I'm still imagining how it is for people to exist in such conditions in these small tents. Bare floor, no mattresses, just, there's really nothing to support human survival in this place. It's really, really terrible. We are going to meet one of the inhabitants of this tent, and he'll tell us his experience. Asu. Good. So, Asu, you live in one of these tents?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, please take me to your tent and show me what it looks like. Wow. Also, this is where you live.
He says he lives here.
And I'm from Wellwood.
Since the displacement, we have been living here, and life here is very, very horrible. The worst thing we suffer all is the bite of insects. We don't know, those insects used to come from the ground. When you spend sleepless night, in the daytime that you are supposed to have a little rest, it is the school environment. The school people will be stopping, roaming, hawking here and there. So it's really something very sad to talk of. At times, even food alone, it becomes very difficult because when the children have surrounded the environment, then you cannot do anything. There's nothing you can really do to arrange yourself as human being. In fact, one is even preferring suicide than to live in this condition.
Thank you very much, Asu. Asu, I want you to show us how do you sleep at night. I am, you see, right now I had to take off my jacket because this place is really, really hot. It's really hot. I'm dripping with sweat, and this ground is so filthy. You have a family of how many kids? How many children?
3 children.
There are 3 children. Your wife? So yeah, there are 5 of you who sleep in this place. Now, can you come in a little? I want to see something. I want to show you something. This is a mattress. Okay, and on this one mattress, okay, I can see another very flat one here. Wow, 5 of you are supposed to sleep on this.
Yes.
That's serious. So health-wise, how do you take care of your children's health? Because in such a situation, in such an environment, they are likely to contact one disease or the other.
It's only God on our side that is sustaining us. That there's nothing so dreadful that has happened in terms of health. That is only prayer that is sustaining us.
Because I've heard about a cholera epidemic in the community. Are your children not affected?
Only one.
Only one of them. Wow. That means in a situation like this, you have to, as much as possible, segregate that child who is affected by cholera so that the others do not contact it.
So my own function food.
We are given small orientation that we should be boiling our water, and I'm also praying that this sickness should not extend to others. But it is very difficult to escape from it because I'm seeing that the epidemic is so severe here.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you. What's your name, sir?
Besong, Elder Besong.
Okay, he's a community elder, Bessel. Thank you very much.
You're highly welcome. Me, I will speak for Brokono. Okay, he says he's going to speak Pidgin English, our local parlance in Nigeria. It's a bastardized version of English language. As you see me, so they think to pain my body. But why they pain my body? Because I been get 3 children. 2 boys, 1 girl. The first boy is 12 years. The other one is 10 years. 2 are missing, the one of 12 years and 10 years. So left the small girl who is with me. The problem is on the 23rd of October 2010. Something happened about war. Before I see what in the happen, because me, I did sick diabetes everywhere. I don't see for 1 year, 4 months. I did down as I just come across some group of people who just came out in every community. But those who were claims to them from what they do, come fight us at about 1:30 at that food, you know. So I will not go up to them, but the only thing I don't go hide for backyard for shit. And that job don't go hide. My children, everybody running on the mama running self. So right now, how do you live? As I do, they manage, they fit in the hands of the community. And as I do, what I have in the sell, my shop, for my wife in the sell, see me they sick. They run up with 2 generators, 2 big fridge, 58 crates of beer, who they sell drink for wholesale. So now where they stay here, they sell my wife and the other kid, that is them. The other 2 never see them to the way they bring. So right now, he lives here. You can see he's doing the domestic chores on his own. In the African setting, this is a chore that's done by the women of the house. Men don't do this in Africa. So he's been subjected to this right now because of the situation that he is facing. And right now, this is all he has. So you live in distance with your wife and the only child left. Where are they now? Then go farm. Okay, they went to farm. Yes, I also heard your farms were destroyed. They went to the farms too? Yeah, might be no go farm. We don't go job after selling. What do you do about food? How do you get your food? If then my wife go job like that, we go buy from people where they sell before we go job. Now they help her to watch this so that when she come, no go too hard to cook my job. So his wife is now the breadwinner of the family. When his wife goes out to do jobs, gets her pay, she now brings the money back and the buy from those who are selling. So right now, he does the job of his wife while the wife does the job of the man. Pathetic situation. Thank you very much, sir. You're welcome.
That, they say, is a great leveler. Crisis also comes close.
When this crisis happened, it brought everybody to the same level. Those who live in opulence, those who live in penury, all classes of people were brought down to the same level. You can see from the different kinds of tents we have been looking at. The first tent was bare, nothing on the floor. Some others had, a little household items inside. This one seems to be better furnished. Obviously, the owner of the tent was a little bit well off than others and was able to salvage a few of his property. So, Patrick, okay, Patrick, can you show us your tent? What were you doing before now?
Okay, I'm a taxi driver. I
I drive taxi. I have 3 vehicles on the road. Myself use one, and the other 2 is given out to other drivers. So I've been doing fine. That was last year on the month of 23rd of October. They say people were running with Abuja, coming and Usokon. I don't know, ask, what problem do we have with Usokon? They say, we don't know. I don't have people shooting guns. People shooting guns anyhow. People going to pack some of their things that they can be able to pack, carrying their children. And I cannot be able to carry my vehicle. I cannot be able to carry my house. I have a 4-bedroom flat. I have a wife and 2 children. So I was trying my best to escape with my wife and children. And unfortunately, this is my property that left behind. I took them to the backyard. So my house was the first house that was destroyed. Yes. So when I carried my property to the backyard, I was coming to carry other one. So unfortunately, I had people coming around. They are everywhere. So now we down, now run with my wife, and one of my child was killed. So my grandmother was killed, and when they killed my grandmother, they took her to one of my vehicles, and they put her there, and they were burning her. And the other 2 vehicles was destroyed. So there's nothing I could do. So when I heard that the government is assisting people to build giving of house, giving them cameras, so I came, and one was given to me. And there's nothing I can do. I picked this my chairs and I finished them here. I have no mattress, nothing. I lost my grandmother, I lost my child. This is the way we manage with my wife, my 3 vehicles lost. Nothing of all my bank books, everything was destroyed. There's nothing I can be able to do now.
Wow. I just don't know what to say. Lazarus, I want make you tell me what happened, what be that thing we bring about the trouble? About land. Our boundary, which Nsadop, right from our forefathers. We know that our boundary is at Umup and Bujiri, they no agree. They say their own boundary. It is here for Nsadop, for a place called Abanku. So because of that, when they come here, they go hire militant. They come kill us. They kill all with the blind. Myself, it was not been wrong. I'm not going to safe. So I thank my God. You know, say these houses, they carry zinc, take maker. You know, and you know, at the watch, say the body of the house na zinc, the roof na zinc. And for this kind of sun, so how do you survive for this place with your family? Well, Oga, I thank you for your question. The people say, like the person will not get anything, as I don't know, remains without house, without place to stay. Anyhow, I suffer. Whether I suffer for heat, I go say, well, I go to create am so. Suffer not die. Whether I suffer for rain, I don't say, I go to create am so. He say, make I not die. I will take it. Say myself, I don't get money to build my house. And the house, I don't see the house where government don't come build for us. I have to say. That's why I'm saying.
These women are victims of the crisis. They have been rendered homeless. Here they tell me their story.
I don't be no man now. They don't burn houses or kill our children, kill our father finish. We don't remain like that. No house to live in. When I see this country since I was born, I'm not here to study for ear, not to see for eye. How do you live? No water. No food. Colorado running all around. And this man will eat pellets on you. No better thing. How will you live? How will you say? So, pray to God. May we stay on our heaven. For all you can see, may we not give us water to drink. Because for water is bad fast. If we eat, we drink water, belly will turn us. Because no better stream. Nothing. What we can do? Tablets to drink. I think that money you will get before you go buy tablets. You buy medicine to give yourself to drink. If belly turn you, where money? When you go buy medicine, you drink. No rest.
In every crisis of this nature, the worst affected people are always the children. In this particular crisis, many adults were slaughtered, leaving the children as orphans. The children are thus forced to grow up in the flesh. Kids become parents to their siblings because they somehow gotta survive.
How are you doing? How are you?
Fine.
Okay, good. What is your name?
My name is Goodness William.
Goodness William. Okay, this baby you are carrying on your back, who is she?
Esther baby.
Oh, Esther baby. Esther baby, how are you? Can she talk?
No.
Well, she cannot talk, but she's Esther baby. Do you know the story of Esther?
No.
You don't know the story of Esther in the Bible? Okay, you know what's going to happen? When your school resumes, okay, when you see your teacher, you ask your teacher what's the story of Esther in the Bible, okay? Alright. Now, were you here when people came and burnt your village?
Yes.
And what happened?
I ran away.
You ran away?
Yes.
Who was here? Who can tell me what happened?
I thought my mother was me and my sister and my brother. We went to Okonde. So my mother came back, she want to cook. She's in the kitchen, she want to cook, so I will come and give us in the Okonde. So I want to us, then kill our parents.
Wow. Some people came into the village and killed your parents.
Yes. So then destroy our houses, then destroy our properties.
Now, this has happened to you. Where do you live now?
I live in the camp.
You live in this refugee camp?
Yes. Let them come and burn the whole village and militant. Come and kill our parents, burn our houses, steal our things or our food.
So, some militants from the neighboring villages came into your village and burnt your houses, looted your property, and killed your parents. So, where do you live now?
I live in the camp.
And in this camp, who takes care of you?
It's a village.
The village takes care of you?
Yes.
Now, this is where the traditional African social support structure triumphs. For these orphan children, the community has rallied to cater for them within the means available to them. But the big question is, for how long can this be sustained? What about their education? How do these children continue their education when their school has been converted to a refugee camp?
Right now, this is supposed to be school hours, and the kids are not even in school. Now, these children are pupils of this school that have been turned into a refugee camp. Like I said before, their classes have been limited to just a few rooms. The other classrooms are now inhabited by families. Now, behind me, you can see some classrooms here. These classrooms are empty. They have been turned into living houses. People who had businesses had to move their businesses into the school.
It is only when this village has been rebuilt that their hope can be rekindled. Mr. Michael Etta was the landlord of this house. He now lives in this hut. Every belonging of his was destroyed, including his farm.
this is what you eat.
Yes.
Well, I was told they also destroyed your farmland and everything you were supposed to do. So, where do you get this from?
This one is the one that
What he is eating right now are seedlings of yams he was supposed to plant in the forthcoming planting season. This retiree showed me around his burnt down house.
And this is the
wife room.
okay. And these are the roofing sheets.
The roofing
that were up
sheets
there.
I move so that if I have some little money to build a small hut until the time government will come. All my clothes that were here and all that was for me were all burnt. So nothing again. A retired man. That's my father's grave. Wow. It was broken down.
Your father was buried here.
My father died 82 and I buried her here. And the cause of that problem, the grave sunk and went down. So I only gathered whatever that is here and fill it.
Try to rehabilitate it.
To rehabilitate it.
What's your name, madam?
Janet Otu.
Janet Otu.
Janet Otu is a homeless widow. Her husband was shot in the back while they were trying to escape the crisis. She was lucky to have escaped with all her children.
How many children do you have?
5.
And what's your name?
But she is left with these 7 children to cater for without any support. This child tells me her father was shot in the back.
As you have the sickness area in the back.
Health is wealth, they say, and a healthy mind exists in a healthy body. But unfortunately for the Nsadop people, it is very difficult to attain this status of health and wealth as a result of this crisis. There are just too many factors militating against their well-being.
For one, they are subjected to cooking and eating out in the open, under terrible unhygienic conditions. And since these people defecate in the open due to lack of toilet facilities, you can imagine how healthy these people are. The government has intervened, sort of, to ameliorate the hygiene situation in the village by providing these tanks here. Now these tanks are supposed to serve the community, but there is no water supply to them and no provision whatsoever. And they stand here as a monument to the government's preference for window dressing over functionality.
Now there's a popular joke in Nigeria about the voicemail. Is that most Nigerians hardly ever listen to their voicemail nor return them. So most callers drop the call when it's in the process of being routed to the receiver's voicemail. So most callers drop the call when it's in the process of being routed to the receiver's voicemail, knowing it's a lost cause. So people around here would refer to money spent inadvertently on damaged goods as money having entered voicemail. It is not uncommon to hear people say, "Oh, you lent your money to that man? Your money don't enter voicemail," meaning you can as well forget about it. There is no hope of it being returned. So whatever you do with your money, whatever it is that you spend without any hope of getting it back, or it was fraudulently taken away from you, that venture is a voicemail venture. This seems to be the case in this government water project. To most people in this community, this government project has entered voicemail.
So what do the people do for water? We are walking down the path to the only source of water supply in the community. I am told it's a slow-running stream, and all human activity involving water takes place here.
Well, this source of water is used for both drinking, washing, and all activities that man undertakes as it relates to the need for water. You can see from this distance, it's almost like a pond. It's almost like a pond. Because of the weather, the waters are almost getting dried up. Maybe in a few weeks or months, it will be cut off completely. But this one becomes a pond. Children back inside here, they take from here for drinking as well.
Remember, there are no toilet facilities in this community, so the people defecate in the open, as confirmed by this engineer who has been contracted by the government to build a public restroom.
By the time we came in, we noticed that most of these people that had been displaced defecate in the open everywhere. And so the next thing would be the outbreak of cholera. So proactively, the state government, through the IDS and RWASA, decided that it would be proper to establish or to construct some toilets in the community. That's why we are coming here.
The project is in progress, and my prayer is that it doesn't enter voicemail as well. But in the meantime, the people defecate in the open, and the rain washes this waste back into this water, giving the people all manners of infections. There is currently a cholera epidemic in this community for this reason, and a second round of deaths have started already.
Hello, my name is Richard Obi. Richard, what exactly are you doing here?
Well, this is the only source of water supply we have here in this area. So we back here, we wash clothes here. We won't drink it from here. Like we had a water standard cash here, a pipeline water towards concentrated by the government. But as this incident took place, they spoiled the whole tanks and nothing is working there. Nothing is working good there. So we drink from up there. A little from this place, they are batting. Yes, at the source, that is where we fish to drink. You know, the water source is stagnant, and as a matter of fact, it's not clean enough for drinking. But we do drink. So most people are attacked by cholera. At least we have a lot of patients suffering from that impact now.
I went to the community health center to meet with the patients and have a one-on-one chat with them. But it is double jeopardy for the Nsadop people because the only medical facility they had was also vandalized during the crisis.
This facility you see here was broken into and all the equipment carted away. So the people have no access to proper Medicare. They have to resort to traditional unsafe medical practices. The only semblance of orthodox Medicare the people can access is one provided by this nurse who once worked in the sacked health center and has converted her home into a makeshift health clinic.
The health situation of the community is too bad because of the crisis that took place. And in another aspect, we are on strike. And our people suffering so much. And there's a lot of epidemic cases here like cholera. I'm tired of treating the people. Because there's no assistance from any source. Then I am the only source in the community. I try my best to buy drugs and take care of my people. This is one of them. The cholera case.
Waiting they do this your son?
They vomit and they purge.
That the child is purging and vomiting.
I bring the child for lost. Lost start to treat her. And now he's doing fine. Yesterday morning he was vomiting. Then now, no vomiting again.
Right now, there are a few patients here because they come from their camp and their homes to get treated here. And she cannot provide accommodation for them in her house, which was also partially burnt. But you can see that these people are slowly going down the road of a disease pandemic with the existing conditions prevalent here.
Now, Fountains of Compassion, an NGO set up by Father Philip Tar, an indigene of this community, has set out to offer relief to these people.
Over the last weeks, I've been thinking how I can directly affect people's lives, how I can help to build their lives again. And these questions have given birth to a charity that I'm establishing, Fountains of Compassion, because I hope to, as much as God allows me, do the best for people to help them rebuild their lives again.
So far, items of clothing have been distributed to the people. Students who lost the ability to pay their tuition have had them paid. Artisans who lost their means of livelihood were provided with tools to kickstart their businesses again. Funds have been made available to train the unskilled of the community in various vocations to put them on the road to self-sufficiency. Textbooks and exercise books were donated to the primary and secondary school pupils.
I'm Benedict Babison, and I thank the Fountain of Compassion for this wonderful gesture that we promise to make good use of these books, and may God bless you.
This man was a vulcanizer who was given a brand new vulcanizing equipment.
Yes, tears of joy, that's why. I'm just happy. I thank my father so much to try more than this. My brother, I don't want to help him. She will extend this ahead. I don't want to go. Thank you.
And this widow is one of those who was given a sewing machine.
So I can see you're actually doing good business, brisk business. So the people are making their clothes with you and you're making money.
By the grace of God.
Okay, by the grace of God, you're making big money.
Very soon we'll make more than this.
Amen, amen to that. Okay, so what message, these sewing machines you see were donated by people in New York, the United States. So what message do you have for them?
I'm thanking them for at least giving us what to start up again. And we pray that God should continue blessing them all the days of their life. When they remove the money, that God should replace them in abundance. In Jesus' name.
Amen to that. Amen to that. And, okay, who is she?
My apprentice.
Okay, she's your apprentice. You're wonderful. This is good business. You see, she's now an entrepreneur. She's now an entrepreneur. She has sewing machines and she even has an apprentice. You see, that's the wonderful thing about, helping others. Right now, she has a business and she even can employ other people. She can take care of herself and enable other people to take care of themselves. So, congratulations. Yeah.
I have visited Nsadop 6 times since this crisis, and each time I drive away with a huge weight on my chest. I still can't come to terms with the capacity of the human heart to love so dearly, yet hate so fiercely, to the extent of inflicting such harm, such hurts, such pain on neighbors. I try to wrap my head around the mentality of politicians who are supposed to help such people in times of need, rather using the people's plight to score cheap political points. Unlike a man armed with only a bucket to fill the Grand Canyon, I feel like we at the Fountains of Compassion are only scratching the surface. But I have a firm belief in the capacity of the human hearts for compassion. And I believe that with everybody who sees this documentary contributing in a little way to affect these people's lives, we will be able to lift Nsadop out of this rubble and restore hope to our people. So as the sun sets on Nsadop and the moon rises to light up the night sky, and the children gather around the feet of their elders for folk tales, will the tales be of doom and gloom, or hopelessness occasioned by helplessness? Or will the story be different, filled with hope and excitement at a once hopeless situation now turned around? Will the smiles be returned to the faces of the children? And will they have cause to laugh in spite of the loss of their kindred? Will there be singing and dancing in the moonlight again, to songs of gratitude at the show of love that has helped their village rise again? You need to look within, because you could be the link to help fulfill this dream.